Okay, so Bambu Labs threatened to sue. They sent a cease and desist to a developer over some stuff that he did about allowing people to access the Bambu Lab printers the way you used to be able to do it before they changed their system. And a lot of people have been asking me for a way in because, hey, you're a Bambu Lab supporter. How do you still support them? Well, I'm going to answer all of this. In fact, we're going to go issue by issue, talk about what's going on, and I'm going to give you a real world, not a fairy tale kind of like, oh, everything's wonderful in open source land, kind of unicorns and pixies kind of story. We're going to talk about real world running real businesses and how this pans out because that's my background. My background is in running businesses. For people who don't know, I've got 20 plus years as a C-level executive in Silicon Valley. So we're going to talk about all of that. So let's jump into it. The first issue is they said, and there was a laundry list. I think there were 4 or 5 issues. Was impersonation. Basically, he has taken code that allows the old Orca slicer to connect to Bambu. Now, Bambu Slicer is built on Prusa Slicer, which is built on Slicer, and then Orca Slicer, I think, was a derivative off of Bambu. Somebody was a derivative. Anyway, they're all basically kissing cousins, right? They're all coming out of the same. They're all related to Slicer, and now Bambu when they closed their doors and became a walled garden. Think PC versus Apple. That's the perfect way to look at this. Okay, Bambu was like, look, we got a lot of stuff out here. We have to protect this network because we're trying to create a curated experience, if you would. And we can talk about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing later, all right? But that's what they're offering. And every business has the right to offer something, the way they want to. No one's going to sit there and say that Apple can't have their own walled garden and that they have to be like Android or PC or whatever. So they decided to go that route, and for a lot of people, that appealed. For me, in fact, it's what dragged me back into 3D printing. I've been around this for over a decade. One of the original OG guys in 3D printing when I was in Silicon Valley, and I've been in and out because it was really cool to fidget with and fix the printers and build the printers and stuff. But then it got old, and I just wanted it to work, and it wasn't there. So I came out and I came back in for the Ender days and the Ender 3. And then I was like, it's not quite there. And Bambu Lab sent me, and full disclosure, Bambu Lab has sent me printers. Now I've bought a ton of Bambu Lab printers. All right. And they've also sent me a bunch of Bambu Lab printers. I think it's about half and half at this point. But the point is this: they sent me 2 printers about a year and a half ago. And I was so overwhelmed by them and felt compelled the need to say good things about them that I sat on those printers for a year. I was, that's just not the way this channel works. And you can reference, I just did a shared video talking about what my policies are for versus free tools and paid sponsors and all that kind of stuff. But point is, I tried them and that did compel me to talk about them because they're just that good. But anyway, so he does this whole thing with impersonation, and his defense is, let's wait a minute. Before we get into the defense and the argument, let me go through all this. I'm going to go through my notes here. The technical aspect is that he's using a user agent string to connect, and that piece of software is making this request, and that he's using code that Bambu Lab. There's an argument about whether the code he's using is how the open source allows it to be used. And that's the part we're going to get to. But basically, it's Bambu Lab's own code that he's using. So that does look a little bad for Bambu Lab there, okay? Bypassing technical limitations, all right? So he's using this code to bypass what Bambu Labs has in place. Basically, they put a gate on their walled garden, and he's bypassing it using their code. And we can talk about that. Infrastructure security risk, they're claiming it creates, and it does. You can't really say that it doesn't. They're just claiming that, not Bambu Lab, but the guy and the open source community is claiming that, well, we have a right to it because, open source. And sending arbitrary commands. Basically, again, it's creating a security risk. And then it goes to reverse engineering. And I think they're really tenuous on this one. It doesn't look like reverse engineering in any aspect that I understand it, but I'm not a lawyer. Now, I've played a lawyer at work, and I've done a lot of stuff with mostly with intellectual property and contract law. And looking at it, I don't see this, but there's a reason for it, okay? So then the question is, you know, how does Bambu Lab say this with a straight face? And are they, like, if it went to court, how likely are they to win? And I think that in most of these cases, they would not win. All right. This is definitely a case of them uh, trying to bully somebody into not doing what they're doing. Now, the question is that wrong? You know, if somebody broke into your house, but then they weren't technically in their house, and you pointed a weapon at them, you know, you're like, well, I'm not really defending, but they're going to, and there's an argument there. It's a real gray area, okay? And you got to understand from a business perspective, because Bambu Lab, they've created a dual a dual product business. They have the physical product, but then they also have a SaaS, and that's SaaS, software as a service. And that SaaS is what's in danger here, and potentially the physical product. And there's two ways this could come about. If they did nothing, then their network could get flooded, and their abilities to serve the product that they've sold could be compromised. And no one's going to blame the hacker for doing this. They're going to blame Bambu, which means class action lawsuit. So they have a fiduciary responsibility to protect the product that they are serving to people. You can't get around that. That's a business law thing. And if you did nothing and you allowed people, like, at least at this point, they can say, look, we did our level best. We did everything at our disposal. So if you sue us because this guy hacked the system using open source code and whatnot, then we're washing our hands of it because we've done everything we can. That's what I think. I see a lot of people, and a lot of them honestly are open source zealots. I think open source is great, but I don't think it's the true religion like a lot of these people claim to think it is. I've been burned by a lot of stuff with open source, with people who develop and then walk away. All right, they're needing updates, security updates, and then nobody gets around to it, or they do it and it's just kind of half-assed. So there's issues there. All right, now let's talk about this. So the controlling the cloud services, this is more of a terms of service kind of issue. It's not really a legal issue. Did he violate it? Sure did. There's no question that terms of services were violated. Okay, but that's a civil matter. Okay, not I mean, they could probably sue him until he's bankrupt. Chances are he probably doesn't have a lot of money, so they're not going to get much from that. Impersonation via the metadata. Now that one's I would say it's kind of middle of the road, because here's the deal: the software's out there. All right, they did publish it, and he's created a thing that's coming back in saying it's their current software when it's not. The fact that they made it and they published it has nothing to do with it. You're still doing that. So that could go either. It depends on what kind of judge you're going to get in that kind of situation. All right. The arbitrary security risks, probably not going to win legally. But again, that's the part where they have the fiduciary responsibility and they have to try. All right. They just have to. Okay. There's a lot of cases in business, legally speaking, where you have to do something, even if you know it's something you don't want to do. I'm in a situation right now over a trademark infringement on some intellectual property, and I tried to work it out with the guy. I literally begged him to do the right thing. I begged him, like, look, go talk to other attorneys or friends that are lawyers. You got to know somebody. They're going to tell you the same thing I'm telling you. But I have to protect my intellectual property, or I could lose it. It's just the way U.S. law is written. Okay, they have this fiduciary responsibility that if they don't try to protect the service, then they could be held responsible for not protecting the service. And then there's risks of hacking and DOS, denial of service attacks, stuff like that, or just basically so much traffic that they can't handle it. And that's a real, they actually have kind of again, it's just because I gave you a key. If I said, like, hey, there's a key and it does open my doors, but I don't give you the right to open those doors, and you open the door anyway, you're still trespassing. That's literally the way the law works, guys. It's their house. They get to make the rules in their house. If you don't like it, don't buy the product. That's fine. It's a really good product and a really good service. So, it really comes down to that, which is, if you're an open source zealot, then you don't really care about any of the facts. You're like, open source always. Anything that's not open source is evil. Corporations are evil. Everything's evil. I'm a victim. Blah 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 blah. And I'm not that guy. And if you came to me expecting to hear somebody else who's going to pump you up, rah rah, I'm not. I'm a real world practical kind of person. All right. German heritage, grew up in the Midwest. I don't care what your philosophy is. I want to know, am I going to be able to harvest my crops at the end of the season? I got bills to pay, family to feed, that sort of thing. I don't want to hear about your ideology. I want to hear about whether it works. And the reality is, the guy took code that they did publish, all right? And the thing is, the network code, their own code, they can argue about whether that nodule of code is theirs or not. But the fact of the matter is, it's their house. They said you can't come in. And you did. Doesn't matter where you got it, whether it was open source or hacked or anything else. You still did it. They said don't. I mean, what's that about consent? Anyway, that's my 2 cents on this, the take, if you would. If you want me to explain it further, let me know. But basically, I'm not mad at Bambu for doing what business needs you to do to be in business. I'm not an open source zealot. I think it's a tool like anything else. It has the right tool for the right job. This is not it. All right. I need you to freeze right there and give me 30 seconds. I'm going to give you a use case, and that is, I was just on site doing a tour of a major U.S.-based tool manufacturer. And you can watch the other channel. I mean, it's Klein, okay? It's my other channel I talk about. So Klein, made in USA tools, and I got to talk to a whole bunch of their engineers, and they showed me a bunch of products that they're looking, prototypes. And who do they use for prototyping? Bambu. Why? Because it just works. Companies like this aren't going to pay somebody to maintain this kind of stuff. They want an appliance. They want that closed walled garden. They want that kind of security and all that kind of stuff. Big companies use them. They do it for a reason. I use them. I built my business around it, my 3D print business around them for that reason, okay? So when somebody tries to hack it, not going to have a lot of sympathy that, the 800-pound gorilla told him to, get out. It's just math in that case, all right? So anyway, sorry if I'm not on your side, but I'm just on the side of practicality. If you like what we do here, go ahead and chomp the old like button, smash that subscribe, ring the bell on the way out. You all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.